Hi everyone, my name is Holly Grant from CPA Australia and welcome to Securing the Future, AI, Cybersecurity and the Road to Tech-Driven Growth. Before I hand over to today's presenters, I just want to run you through a few housekeeping points. You'll notice that comments aren't available during this live stream, but if you'd like to ask a question for our presenters, you can do so using the QR code that will appear on your screen during the panel session. We'll come back to those questions at the end of the session if time allows. This live stream has 1 hour of applicable CPD, whether you are participating live or watching the recording. If you are a CPA Australia member, there is no automatic CPD. You'll need to add this to your CPD diary manually. For all others, please follow the directions of your professional body. The views and opinions expressed during this live stream are those of the individual presenters and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of CPA Australia. The content is provided for general information only and does not constitute professional advice. And finally, I'm pleased to let you know that today's session will be chaired by Davern, Business Investment and International Lead at CPA Australia's Policy and Advocacy team. I'm now going to pass to Davern.
Hello everyone. As Holly said, my name's Gavin Ord and I'll be the chair of today's live stream and also one of the presenters. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge that we have many people joining us for this live stream from all around the world. At CPA Australia, we are committed to reconciliation and cultural respect and would like to start today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the many lands on which we gather and pay respect to elders past and present. We extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people here today. Before we get into the panel session with three amazing panelists, I'm going to present some data from CPA Australia's annual Business Technology Survey. Before we do that, just quickly say that the three panelists, Tony Chan, FCPA, Stephannie Jonovska, FCPA, and Professor Michael Davern, FCPA, are leaders in this space and really highly respected people. They are not technologists, they are accountants with technology background. And I'm really looking forward to our panel discussion. So let me just give a bit of background. So every year for the last 5 years, we've run our Business Technology Survey. And this is a survey of members and also other accounting and finance people. This year we had responses from 1,100 people. And for us, the survey provides valuable insights into how various technologies are influencing businesses, their operations, performance, and challenges. The report also highlights, or the survey results also highlight, the opportunities and barriers faced by business in adopting key technologies. And today, obviously, we're focused on the issue on everyone's lips, artificial intelligence. The survey was run between July and September this year. We had responses from businesses of all sizes. As you can see on this slide here, over a third were from businesses of 1,000 and more employees, and about 30% were from businesses of 50 or less employees. In terms of the markets, we ran the survey. We have a significant, statistically valid number of responses from Australia, mainland China, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Malaysia. So let's get into the survey and some of the results, and this will hopefully influence some of the panel discussion after this. So between 2022 and 2025, we've definitely seen businesses steadily increase their adoption of digital technologies. And the real star in this space has been artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, the number of businesses that said they used artificial intelligence in the past 12 months has jumped from 55% in 2022 to 89% this year. So basically, nearly all businesses now say they use artificial intelligence. What we find is that Larger businesses are more likely to regularly use various digital technologies, which is not surprising given their size and technology needs. But the gap between small business use of technology and large business use of technology is most pronounced in the use of robotic process automation, ERP software, and business intelligence software. If we look at the results by market, uh, mainland China, mainland Chinese businesses are much more likely to be adopting automation, robotic process automation. So that's one area where China is very much in the lead, and we'll see from the survey results that China has been a leader in artificial intelligence as well. Not surprisingly, AI is more used by larger businesses than smaller businesses, but the difference is not great. Uh, So what are the future trends? So 2025 was a year where artificial intelligence really became the technology nearly all businesses are using. That trend will continue into 2026, with nearly two-thirds of businesses saying that they will increase their use of AI. This is particularly so for Australian businesses. They've really caught the AI bug, and a very large proportion of Australian businesses expect to increase their use of AI in the next 12 months. Larger organizations are also more likely to anticipate growth in the use of AI, but not just AI, but also data analytics and business intelligence software. Smaller businesses are also expected to expand the use of AI and data analytics, but at a slightly slower pace than larger businesses. High performing businesses, so very profitable businesses, are more likely to expect to use AI than other businesses. So, what's the impact of technology on business? So, the survey results show a clear correlation between the adoption of technology and improved business performance. And it's not just this survey, we also run an annual Asia Pacific Small Business Survey, and that shows the same thing that high growth businesses are much more likely to be adopting a wide range of technologies. Businesses that regularly use technology such as data analytics and AI and business intelligence software are more likely to report increased profitability. The survey data shows that technology has helped businesses to improve, as you can see here, operational efficiency and to save costs. So that's really the key benefit of technology for the respondents is improved operational efficiency. For Australia, Australian businesses are a little bit more likely than others to say that technology helps them improve the customer experience. And that's important because our small business survey shows that the customer experience is really important to driving growth. As you can see on the top left-hand column, if you have a question, scan that QR code and send through your question. So in Australia, more likely to use technology. One of the benefits is improving the customer experience. In Hong Kong and Singapore, the most commonly cited benefit of technology adoption is the cost savings that it gives. So, what are some of the challenges associated with technology? It's not all happy. We're not all happy with technology. We're not all finding it's improving business. So the survey results show that the biggest challenge to technology adoption is the cost and the low return on investment. So sometimes that low return on investment is because the technology didn't meet expectations. Sometimes it's because they didn't go through a proper due diligence, a proper procurement process to choose the technology that best meets their needs. Data privacy and cybersecurity concerns are also a key challenge to technology adoption. And anytime you invest in technology, you must equally invest in cybersecurity. Looking at those results by size of business, what we find is these are the challenges, is that many larger businesses are facing a challenge regarding integrating their new technologies with their legacy system. So we find that's much more a challenge for larger businesses than smaller businesses. In contrast, smaller businesses are more likely to cite concerns around data privacy and also tech shortages, staff shortages. So it's whether it's staff shortages with insufficient knowledge of technology, or just being able to find people that can actually do the work for them. So on the large business side, it's more around the large business side, it's more around complex legacy systems, obviously, as well as costs. On the small business side, it's more around tech talent and cybersecurity. Now we get on to artificial intelligence. I know a lot of people want to hear what what the survey results say about artificial intelligence. And what we asked a range of questions. We asked who's using, or what sort of AI level of AI maturity they have, how is it impacting accounting and finance teams, and we also this year we asked how is it impacting the recruitment in accounting and finance teams. And hopefully you find some of the results here interesting. So we asked a question of respondents to describe their level of AI adoption. And as we discussed before we get into this slide, sorry, as we discussed before, the survey results reveal a significant jump in the proportion of businesses using AI in the business. So that's gone from 69% last year to 89% this year. Additionally, the percentage of businesses that say they use AI all the time has also jumped from 21% last year to 42% this year. So AI is basically in every business, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's being applied across all businesses. So as you can see here on this slide, only a small percentage, 16% of businesses tell us that they've widely integrated AI across their operations. Most businesses continue to use AI tools irregularly, with many relying on free or off-the-shelf solutions such as ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, and DeepSeek. Around a third said that their business applied AI across several business functions, but not all business functions, and the technology is not yet deeply embedded into business processes. So to me, this data suggests there's actually AI is growing quickly. There's actually still significant scope to grow AI as we expand its use across more business operations, and as it becomes more deeply embedded into business processes. Now, if you look at AI adoption by market, we find that, as I mentioned before, AI adoption is more mainland China is more like mainland Chinese small businesses are more likely to adopt AI, and they're more likely to use AI on a very regular basis. That is used across their business, and they use a mix of tools, whether it's their own in-house developed AI, custom-built AI, or off-the-shelf solutions. Also, and not surprisingly, larger businesses and growing businesses are more likely to use AI widely across all or nearly all of their business functions. And so what is AI? What's the impact AI is having on business? So the most commonly cited benefit of AI remains enhanced efficiency, improving accuracy of work, improved productivity, and the improved employee experience. Mainland Chinese businesses are most likely to cite improved accuracy and improved efficiency, while in Singapore and Hong Kong, they highlighted the enhanced productivity. What are the challenges in AI? It's not all positive. There are challenges, and the key challenges are around data privacy and just the quality and data privacy. But also there's a number of businesses said that one of the challenges is around the dependence on AI and the reduced human oversight. So it's important that humans are on the loop in AI decision making, and that people don't just accept what AI is telling them. How is AI influencing accounting and finance teams? So we asked what are accounting and finance teams using AI for? And the top response was data analytics and insights. And within that, the top AI tools are used in analytics, insights, Power BI, Python libraries, ChatGPT, Copilot, and DeepSeek. Also, quite a few people use AI to help with their research and improve written communications. And also quite a few use it for management accounting tasks, such as variance analysis, management reporting, and budgeting and forecasting. So we also asked, how is AI influencing recruitment within accounting and finance teams? And we asked this question because we heard people talk about that it's impacting particularly junior roles. And the results so far give us a bit of a mixed picture. Most of the people say it's either too early to say, or there's no change in hiring practices as yet. But 17% of respondents said that it had reduced, AI in particular had reduced the hiring of junior or entry-level accounting roles. Interestingly, only 6% of businesses said that they increased the hiring of accountants with AI expertise. So for us, it's a bit of a watch this space. We want to see how this develops, but I think there's some interesting insights from the data which we will be considering at CPA Australia over the next few months, if not longer. In terms of impacts, I think what's important to see here is we spoke about mainland China being an early adopter of artificial intelligence and automation. And what we see here is that 32% of businesses in mainland China have reduced the hiring of junior or entry-level accountants because of artificial intelligence. Cybersecurity, I'll go through this quickly. We wanted to measure the cybersecurity maturity level of businesses, and we found that most businesses have a fairly high level of cybersecurity maturity. And not surprisingly, that larger businesses and growing businesses also tend to have higher levels of cybersecurity maturity. That is, that they're either fully integrating cybersecurity into their strategy, and they have ongoing improvements, regular independent reviews, or they've got processes are well established and consistently followed around cybersecurity and risks are monitored. So to us, that's more of a high level maturity. But obviously there are businesses which have not so high levels of maturity. In terms of impact on cyber incidents, impact on business, 19% of, well, 22% of businesses said that they lost time and or money due to a cyber incident in the last 12 months. And 3% said they lost a significant amount of time or money due to a cyber incident. And that result is basically in line with 2024 data. So I'll leave the presentation there, and we'll hand back to Holly to introduce our panelists.
Thanks so much, Gavin. It's now my pleasure today to invite the presenters on our panel session for today. So we have Tony Chan, FCPA, President of the South China Committee for CPA Australia, and Partner IT and Specialised Assurance of Deloitte China Risk Advisory. Stephannie Jonovska, FCPA, Head of Commercial Services and Transformation, BlueScope Australia, and Michael Davern, FCPA, Professor of Accounting and Business Information Systems at the University of Melbourne. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Holly. I might also add that Stephannie is also chair of CPA Australia's Digital Transformation Centre of Excellence, and also Michael is on our Digital Transformation Centre of Excellence. So thanks for joining us, the three of you. And as I said before, you are real experts in your field, and you're also leaders in terms of contributing your experience to what members, your experience. And I think, Steph, we always talk about keeping it real for members, tangible benefits for members. And that's why we're here. So you've seen the survey data. Steph, I might start with you. So the survey data shows that businesses using a broad range of technologies outperform others. In your experience, what technology investments are most likely to improve financial performance?
Thanks, Gavin. From my experience, the strongest and fastest return on investment comes when organisations focus on three key priorities. Number one, data and analytics underpins everything. And to drive better, faster decisions, you need high quality data and good visualizations tools to deliver, again, better insights, reduce waste, and guide those smarter decisions. The second area is automation. There's a variety. We spoke about RPA in China, removing the manual processing, reducing errors and speeding up workflows. And that directly can impact our cost to serve. And the last area is AI for reporting, forecasting and analysis, which is widely used and it's not new, but the capability hasn't been fully exploited of the newer AI tools. And again, productivity, accuracy and improved decision making. So I think the report shows that efficiency and cost savings are very much top reported benefits of technology. So we need to prioritise tools and increase productivity and reduce friction in our core processes. So my hot tip is invest where technology improves insight, reduces manual effort and accelerates performance. And that's where the financial uplift comes from.
And just to expand on that, do you also, what about the people side of it as well? So not just the tech side. What do you do on investing in the people side?
Absolutely, to ensure that our people remain relevant and marketable in the AI generation. We invest in their digital capability. Right now, we've got over 100 people in our commercial teams upskilling in data, and not just data and visualization and data governance, but also the human side of digital, which includes change management and running projects. And I think that's a really important investment that we're making in our people to ensure, again, that they're relevant and marketable, and data being foundational as a foundational element of our capability. Our next phase will be looking at AI and ensuring that our people are fully versed in that.
And in the loop, as you say.
In the loop, definitely in the loop.
Yes. Tony, so what are your thoughts? In your experience, what technology investments are most likely to improve financial performance?
Yep, thank you, Gavin. Yeah, from my advisory as being a consultant advisory perspective, I think the report is quite in line with what we saw in the market, and that in relation to basically, I may say that the technology from technology investment will be more on like technology as an angle. And what are they will be including like technology solutions that in the report that mentioned about the AI and data analytics that involve a lot of solution there. On the other hand, that people is also one kind of a technology asset as well in the corporate strategy, under the corporate strategy for business growth, and that's create a very good another angle is become a business competitive advantages that create that, and including those image of the company that could further attract people as well. So that will become a one kind of thing that the technology investment, not only the technology side, but also if a whole all around on solution, people and business image as well. So from challenging right now we saw and become a new journey about how to integrate technology people, or I may say the people with technology and also technology people together. how they leveraging them. The people not necessarily to be very technical, but how they using technology in their role and in the job and for the corporate. And so the people training, as Stephannie mentioned about this, people training is one kind of thing. How the people being trained and become create a synergy within the corporate with AI or technology or digitalization journey culture. And so that could align with the corporate strategy. And last but not least, the chance on the other part for the investment would be like a selection of the solution, the technology solution. That will be very important. That in the report is also mentioned about that the ROI is low. Why? Because that will be the successful factor for that to how to improve the financial performance is if you got a right solution, you could save a lot of costs. You make process efficiently, effectively. So management could get as quickly as possible information that help a lot. So that would be my point that I'd like to share. Thanks, Gavin, and thanks, Stephannie.
Yeah, Davern, I just want to pick up on your point, Tony, around culture. So we've been very purposeful in saying human plus machine equals better. And I think that is for multiple reasons. People are being told AI is going to take your job, so we're trying to make it less scary. But we also want to show that it will augment their human capabilities and it will add value. So a very important cultural piece is human plus machine. We have to use our professional judgment to overlay on the machine, but together we can get better outcomes. So great point around culture.
Just to add to that, on the culture, there's sort of two elements on it. One's driving the innovation, but it's also managing the risks that's involved and how you work with these things. As we see all these tools become available and people run to use them, sometimes there's not appropriate discretion and judgment used in implementing some of those tools, and some of the things that can happen in organizations can be a little bit scary with people uploading confidential documents to ChatGPT and the like. So building that culture on the risk side as well as the innovation side, and they go hand in hand to be able to create that success. But it's absolutely, the technology is the enabler, but it's the people that are going to drive whether the value is created from it or not.
Amazing.
Totally agree.
Can I just stick with you, Michael? So the report mentioned about that some accounting and finance teams are reducing the hiring of junior or entry-level accountants. So there's three elements of this. I'll go through one, and maybe you can give me responses to each one. How do you, as an academic, how should young accountants adapt to ensure they still have pathways into the profession?
Well, I think for starters, it's recognizing that as accountants, we are the data people. I always like to say we're the original business data professionals. We've been doing stuff with business data for as long as business data has been around. That's our specialty. It's not about the technology, it's about understanding the business data. And so in sense of that, I think we've got to be really careful of watching those trends, that the nature of the work may change, but the importance of what we do hasn't changed. And I think part of that goes to understanding things like the quality of the data, because that's one of the things that we are really strong at, understanding the provenance of the data, understanding how the data has moved through a business process to do that, so that the knowledge that even at a graduate level you see on that. I think the challenge is a lot of the sort of grunt work that we've seen in the past accountants doing on those graduate levels are now automated. So how do you get someone to learn about how a business processes function and how the data is flowing through it when they're not the person executing that transaction and that process like they used to be? They're now going straight in. I mean, there was a partner from PwC in the US saying that in 3 or 4 years' time, we expect our graduates to be doing the tasks that managers are doing because of what AI is enabling them. I always get a bit skeptical of that sort of forecasting. Is always very dangerous on making those sort of predictions, but it's then creating those experiences. And I think it actually emboldens us more as a profession, because it's going to mean that we have to rely much more on our judgment and our storytelling skills in making sense of that data and communicating that, but how do we create the pathway? So one possibility might be, if you think about something like robotic process automation, whereas I might have learned a process by executing it, now I might learn the process by developing the bot that could execute it, or modifying or validating that the bot is going to work properly, or trying to fix a problem with the bot as another way of exposing and understanding that process. So I actually think it's more promising if you're the thinking accountant, the critical, curious problem solver, because we're going to be leveraging that human judgment that you've got and the relationship skills. This is the thing that I always find funny about people think about accountants as the stereotypical bean counter with no personality, right? And so much of what we do as accountants is people, right? I always say accounting's the science of measurement with the art of persuasive communication to enable business savvy decision making. So we've got to have that persuasion, that storytelling, as we create the narrative about what's going on. So I think it's, as we prepare the next batch of graduates, as we look at those as they're going out, it's exposing them to those different stories so they can learn from it. It used to be you'd go out, you'd work in one of the, when I started, the big 8 firms as an auditor, because you'd see lots of different organizations and the way the processes would operate. Now we've got to get you that experience in a different way, but it's going to be compressed because you're not having to do so much of the tick and bash, the grunt work. So I think it's a good thing. It's going to trim the lower end of the distribution in terms of ability but value creation. So I don't know where the market's going to end up, but I expect accountants, good accountants, are going to become incredibly valuable in the future.
So just extending on that, so this is one of the audience questions, and it relates to a question actually I wanted to ask as well. So if there is, the data shows there's a small number of firms starting to decrease the recruitment of junior accountants, what impact will that have on the pipeline of future finance leaders?
Yeah, it really worries me, because I'm always surprised when I go out into organizations how much people who don't have a strong accounting background don't query the validity of the data that they're looking at, don't understand what the data means. And that's a real problem, because if you don't understand what is our systems defining even as a customer, how can I make a value-based decision there? And so I worry that what you're going to get is someone who's got a very surface level view of the data, moving into management positions. And we've seen some of the effects of that, because 30, 40 years ago, CFO to CEO was a very common route we would see. We're not seeing that as much, but I think that's also causing problems because we're not understanding the data that's coming through. So I think it's pretty risky for an organization to be cutting back that too much, because you're hurting your talent pipeline, and you need that talent pipeline because we're the ones who really understand that evidence base that's going to inform the decision making that we make in organizations.
And this is a question to anybody, but given what we've just heard, do you have any tips for a new graduate in accounting? What can they do to ensure that they remain relevant and have a great career in accounting? Anyone like to take a stab at that question?
Yeah,
I'm
can
happy
I
to
share a bit?
Oh,
Yep.
you go,
Tony.
Tony.
Go, Tony.
Yeah,
Tony.
I totally agree with Michael and on this, because I would like to spend a few minutes that I promote a bit because I'm basically a product in relation from the university in Australia. That I double major in accounting and IT. Many years ago. So not to disclose the age, but many years ago. At that point in time, I'm a monster among our classmates, but actually we're a very special group in studying this area. But right now, so I would see that my interpretation or understanding about a report is that there's a correlation questions there, and the trend is not purely to decrease the junior staff, but what is the interpretation is the corporate is trying to, we need people with more like AI experience or AI exposure or more IT related that become many years ago. This me. But right now, maybe still have a lot of opportunity from the university, or because this good system in Australia. It's really good. So I think the trend is also indicating the report that this is increasing in this trend as well. So my understanding it will be like the people for junior stuff not only focus on this, we got a new terms about transform yourself, and also we got like crossover. We need crossover. And with a combination of skill and combination of area to make yourself with new synergy of the value in the future role and for the corporate. That's my feel, that my suggestion to the new junior accountants or even student that may help to get in touch in the future journey.
And Steph, you were going to say something as well?
I was just going to comment, Tony, unlike yourself, I swapped from accounting and IT to accounting and finance. Why I did this, I'll never know. But my hot tip is augment your accounting skills with digital skills and really focus on your human skills. I don't like the word soft skills. I'm talking about human skills of communicating, of influencing, of running change management, good change management. Because all this technology, it's actually a leadership journey. It's not a what shiny new thing do I want to implement today. It's actually a leadership journey of taking our people on a change leadership journey. So that's my hot tip. Get yourself upskilled in digital, but very much focus on human skills. That's what's going to differentiate you in the market and ensure that you're a great leader. And just for the record, 30 years on, I can speak all sorts of things about digital. So don't worry about if you're not in that area right now. You can supplement your skills in many ways. Be a lifelong learner.
It's that lifelong learning that in previous things we've been on, Steph, you've mentioned curiosity as the driver, and I think that's one of the key things. It's recognizing that the technical accounting skills are a necessary but not sufficient condition for success, and it is developing your business savvy, understanding the business problems that the technology is going to come into play in. It's being digital literate, but that's not the be all and end all. If you don't understand what's going on in the business, how the business makes money, how it operates, it doesn't matter how fast your AI, how big your AI is, it's not going to solve the problem for you. It's putting that together and developing that business acumen and continuing to learn. The world is changing. I did accounting and IT as an undergrad in the 1980s. And some of the stuff that I learned was useful then. How many people are still programming in COBOL now?
You'd be surprised, Michael.
Yeah, scary, but
you'd be surprised. Steph, just you sort of answered this question, but how do you see AI reshaping the role of accounting? I mean, you sort of answered some of that, but would you add anything else to that?
Yeah, I think I'll just start off with that. AI has already changed the work and it's going to reshape the role ongoing. AI will double its capability every 5 months. I asked the question, why only 5 months? Apparently it's taking leave in December and January like everyone else. But it pushes accountants, in all honesty, towards 3 major shifts. One of them is from processing to partnering. AI is going to do the heavy lifting on data preparation, and accountants need to spend more time on that influencing decisions and making better decisions. Again, those human skills. The other shift, reconciliations to interpretation. The value that you can derive in business is implying judgment, your professional judgment, highlighting risk, and picking up on Michael's point, telling the story behind the numbers, and then also moving from that spreadsheet skills to data and digital literacy. You don't need to be a data scientist, but I'll tell you, I can keep up with our data scientists now because I've upskilled myself. But you've got to be comfortable using, leveraging, and understanding AI-driven insights. It cannot be a black box in that space. So to highlight, professional judgment, ethics, governance become even more critical. AI is accelerating our work, but we're going to elevate it. So that's the shaping.
Could I ask, because you will have people that who are quite comfortable doing monthly reconciliations and month end. How do you bring them up to actually do that high level work? Because it's some people, that's actually going to be quite a big step for some people. how are you helping those people move from where they are now to being ready for something else in the future?
Yeah. Again, remember what people are being told that AI is going to take their job. So starting that culture of human plus machine, showing them from a change management perspective, showing them what good could look like. Sometimes that means bringing outside into our organisation because we may not have that capability yet. And then also involving all levels in the organisation. Now, you talked about reconciliations, people that are early, mid, late career, and letting them learn together around what that opportunity could look like. And I found that support through generations has been really critical. We may think that the older generation are really against it and all that, but you'd be surprised how they've lived through everything. So when they see something good that can help their lives and perhaps help them transition to an alternate way of working, part-time or anything else, they're really on board, and it brings younger people along the journey that you too can change and you too can adopt and adapt. And then around that reskilling, again, we want our people to be the best business partners they can be, and you can't do that doing month end only, and showing them that that is a more worthwhile, valuable career and really valuable to our business. So if you can shift your time from that, let's call it reconciliations, to being on the plant, working with people around business cases and strategic decisions, that's where we're going to get the value from your brain, and that's where we want you to spend your time. It's not you're out the door. It's you are going to add more value and your career will become more valuable. So I've covered it in multiple ways there, Gavin.
Yeah.
I think part of that is demonstrating them. What I've seen in a number of different organisations is if you take something like an automation, when the people realise that this automation is going to take away the dull, boring, horrible, mundane parts of their job, that they don't, so they're going to focus on the 20% of interesting things that really add value, and then they realise, because I'm adding more value, I'm going to get more remuneration, more interesting work. It can be that change. So it's creating that exposure very early on so they can demystify this thing and let them see how much we need you to bring that the technology is never going to bring. And it's really about getting more value out of you. It's a lever to get the value out of you. You're not sitting there as the automaton plugging away at the machine.
Good call.
Tony, just sort of extending on this people strategy discussion. So what impact do you think AI is having on senior finance leaders and how they structure and lead their teams?
Yeah. In relation to this part, I think from my perspective is, what we saw in the market right now is already happened a couple of years. I may say the AI is one of the changes right now up to now, and previously basically we start from like digitalization, like transformation of accounting and digitalization in accounting, and right now it's AI in accounting. So basically we need the people, most of the corporate is they already set up some of the individual divisions or individual group. The function is talking about like digitalization transformations in this name, and the role is purely like the people with a combination of like business accounting skill and also with technology people as well. They try to become a combination of a capability to create something quick and create something new within the accounting functions. So wherever the ER, AP, and they will create, like, even if Stephannie mentioned about RPA would be in the past is one part of it, but right now maybe in it would be in some of the area that they need to more exploring, like my client like using robot to doing reconciliations, and they are doing this and handling more than 1,000 accounts, multiple city, and for month-end closing. So that would be the one part, is that they have that, because people, you can't at one time to employ many people, talented people, or having that. So most of the company will set up like champion team within this division or department or this group, and then to explain the concept and explain the use case to the other individual like accounting function, so that will spread over it, and then spread over to the corporate as a whole, and that become what I say culture within the organization, and also within the account department for senior financial leader.
Yeah. Michael, there's quite a few questions coming through related to you. You've obviously struck a chord with the people listening. So one of the questions is, I'll just read it. I'm curious, Michael, how do you make sure or test your students that they don't become too reliant on AI? Like when they study at university, and obviously Steph, how do you make sure your people don't rely too much on AI in the workplace?
Yeah, look, I've actually been teaching some of our first years this year just for a bit of fun. And what's a first year topic we typically see? Things like financial statement ratios. And so I walked them through that, but I was using ChatGPT to do some of the financial ratios, and spent the time then highlighting to them, look at all the assumptions that it's making wrong, look at how it's calculating things wrong, look at how we wanted to use EBIT in this formula and it's using net profit after tax. So what's it in? So my working heuristic that I try to get them to realize through a range of different experiences is that you shouldn't get AI to do anything that you don't know how to do yourself, because then how do you evaluate the outputs? So it's there as an efficiency tool. And then we've been doing exercises to try and make them aware that, AI detection's still developing and it's an arms race, but we can still tell some of the telltale signs of that. So we get them looking at different documents and trying to sense whether is this AI created or human created. But it's also going to those human skills and saying you've got to leverage those things. I'm a big fan of oral presentations and interactions. I'm pushing very hard that we need to have things like, let's have a 5-minute oral exam at the end of first year, pass, fail, hurdle requirement. You don't pass the oral exam, you don't get to go to second year. And people say, well, what do you want to assess in that? I said, they've been studying accounting for years. Can they talk intelligently about accounting in a real world context? If not, they go back to the start and move on. So I think it's getting them built up in that constant learning and questioning, getting them to recognize that these tools are fantastic, efficient, but also they can't be replacing human beings because they'll make mistakes. They don't understand the real world context. They overgeneralize. And so thinking about what are our strengths where we add value in going through so they don't become so highly dependent on them. And you can see it because some of the students are saying, well, I asked ChatGPT, therefore I understand the thing. And if you then sit them in an exam where they don't have access to ChatGPT, they fall over very quickly. And their only person they're hurting really is themselves, because they're not developing that lifelong learning skill. They're learning how to use ChatGPT rather than understanding the thing and then leveraging ChatGPT for efficiency purposes.
And Steph, from your point of view, how do you make sure that employees don't necessarily become over-reliant on AI as well? So we spoke about the university context. What about the work context?
Yeah, and I'll use an example. We use AI machine learning for some parts of our forecasting process. And the really critical thing we do is we meet before we submit the forecast. So there's a business representative, there's people from my digital finance innovation team, there's the IT data scientist. And what I love about this is that the business-facing finance people are speaking about not only what's happening in their customer base or in the forecast, they're also speaking the language of IT. So there's a bit of cross-learning. And this important check step ensures that it's human plus machine equals better. If you know something better than what the machine's telling you in the explainable AI, we'll come forward and speak about that in that session, and we sign off on that forecast there and then. And I've spoken quite openly that failure will be one of our finance people saying, oh, the machine told me to do that, that's why the forecast is wrong. Once that happens, watch out. But very clearly, we've got to own our numbers. That is our responsibility, regardless of how it's created. So again, it's a bit of a cultural piece in this example.
It's the accountability culture that you have to develop.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And working with your people, knowing your people, you'll learn what their expertise is from their interactions to know whether they're just blindly following what systems are saying.
Yeah, and they're appreciating each other's skills. The business appreciating data scientists speaking the language of the business.
Absolutely.
If you get that working really well, it can deliver such valuable results. And again, upskilling our people around that cultural and mindset.
That human skill of being able to communicate across the silos in the organisation. So if there's young accountants there saying, what's the thing I really got to get? It's that communication skill to be able to talk across the silos of the business and tell the story of what's going on in the business. Not just, I've got my accounting number and it says this. But what does it mean? What does it mean to the market? Or what does it mean to production? What does it mean to back office?
Yeah. And Michael, you said that we've got a bit of a image issue in accounting. You should have seen when the data scientists came out, they're like, we're going to understand him. What's he going to talk about? And it's not like that at all. And that's broken down some of those mental barriers about working with IT and others, that we can speak a common business outcome language. And that's really important.
Yeah, so we're getting actually quite a few questions coming through from the audience, which is great. One of the recent questions is what are the top accounting and finance functions or roles or tasks that you think should be handed over to AI? I don't know, Tony or Steph, what do you think what functions would you like to be handed over to AI?
Did you want to go first, Tony? I've probably got many thoughts. I need to collect them all. But did you want to go first, Tony? Or you happy?
Yeah, can start first, and then so I think price to AI basically is because I'm a technology guy, and so with accounting, so the AI nature would be more like helping with few angles. Is one thing is to help automatic determinations, so will help a lot of like determination or checking something. At the same time they will create some of the like projection of things. So I think based on this angle that I think repetitive work like basically would be doing like using AI that may help and helping to create a synergy for the accountants in more good to release the pressure, because right now what I saw maybe Stephannie got some experience in that my client got a lot of the transaction volume because the business keep on go up, and the transaction volume become large, and from accounting team perspective they need to handle a lot of like different sources of data and different party, different source, and also that would be quite a lot of time to spend time over it to make it accurately. You can consolidate easily, but you make it accurately is very hard and very difficult. So I think AI is one of the things to integrate that part to help to create accuracy, to helping to release resources and release account people to move into the more high end like management, operation, and more decision making planning stage. And for the projection, like I think AI on the other benefit would be the more like with external information, external trend or source of information to help to not only look into the corporate own information, but also with the integration how the market trend and how the market to be, and so that to help the corporate and help the accounting team to have more information and more synergy to think of the new way of a business trend, think of how to create a business advantages within the corporate. So I think from these two angles to bring this up.
Yeah, and my only few adds, if you like, Gavin and Tony, anywhere where there is manual processing, and I've got a big accounts payable aim to make sure that that's touchless. And no matter how accurate you are as a human, you can make errors, and it's also not inspiring work, and it's really hard to get people into that role. But it is important. It's a really critical role. The other areas are anywhere where you're reconciling data, and we have multiple ERPs. It's no secret, and there's a lot of reconciliation type work that happens between systems. So I'd like that gone. And the last area is around some of our governance and auditing pieces, where you're checking for anomalies. I think that is a really, and we do have some great examples in these spaces, but they're probably the top areas. And I think that some of this area will be benefiting from agentic AI, which I know we haven't spoken much about, but I think that'll be the next wave of opportunity. And again, we'll take different skills for our humans to manage agents as well as be part of a team with agents. So some of that work will benefit from that.
So Steph mentioned governance around AI. I don't know, Tony or Michael, what do you see as best practice in governance around AI?
Yeah, Michael, you go
Sure,
first.
sure. I've got a couple of views on that. It does go back to culture, and my line always with culture on that, with anything that's a risk element, is if there isn't a policy or your staff don't know the policy, what do you think they're going to do, and can you sleep at night with that in mind? Right, that tells you how your culture's sitting. Because you're not going to be able to police all these different things. It doesn't work. You've just got to get them to that belief where they sit there and go, maybe I should just check before I do this, right? If you take that up to a higher level of the board, we've done some work looking at how boards of Australian companies are leveraging data, particularly the secondary use of data. And do they see doing that as a risk or an opportunity? And we thought when we started that work that it was going to be very much about, is there a digital native on the board that's really going to drive what we can do technologically? And that was there, but it was not anywhere near as important as how the board was functioning. Was it an active board? Were they really keen on pushing the envelope, not satisfied with the status quo? So again, what's the right governance levers? How tight or loose that governance environment is a board level decision that's going to filter down as to where you're seeing the opportunity to generate value in what you're doing. But you can't beat that culture piece, because otherwise you end up with 10,000 policies that nobody reads. And I've been in large organizations where you've got ridiculous things where they've had policies about policies, and you just go, this is nuts.
Yeah. Echo to Michael, very quick. Yeah, very quick echo. Basically, AI, you bring up a very good question, Gavin. Is basically AI is now created with a international AI governance framework over it, and the rule is basic principle is the data itself need to be aware of the source, especially data protection and privacy issue, that one part. But for AI is more on the user level as well. The user level is you can't really place reliance on over the AI. You can't fully on this, and people need to get involved. And also the result that you need to be responsible for it, and how to use it. It become is not just AI result comes out and then use it, and that it become a disaster. So that become a human behavior governance, more on this, and how you understand using data, how you get the result, and the result how to use it, and how to massage it, and then become a final product. That become a human behavior, how to control for it, and there's a framework over it, and for the people and for the company, it's not AI do everything. It's not a black box. You need to control it, you need to monitor it from the source, from the process, from the result.
Agree.
But it's a balanced approach here. You've got to make sure you've got well governed, but also create a culture of also of innovation, experimentation. So I think we've got to be quite balanced in this approach, and part of my role is also to push those boundaries of innovation. So we want to make sure that we've got a good balance in this space as well.
Absolutely.
I know we're coming up to the time, but if you've got 5 minutes, we'll get through, finalise the member questions. So this comes back to more of the training side. So it was a question: can the panel share their tips on how they can upskill accounting and finance teams around AI and cybersecurity? I don't know, Steph, what sort of things are you doing to help upskill your finance teams around AI and technology more generally?
Yeah, the 3 E's: exposure, experience, education. We are giving people exposure to some of the tools. That's one piece. But we're also providing some drop-ins, so you can have someone in my team drop into your meetings and upskill you in things that are free and available, like Copilot. So again, we're trying to democratize it and make it very safe. People are worried about, again, their jobs. They're worried about feeling dumb, and they're also worried about, is it going to be valuable? So in those drop-ins, we try and understand the problems they're trying to solve, so that way it becomes very tangible. What can I do using this? So they can build on their experience. So they're exposed to it. They get a bit of safe experience in building and doing something. And then some of that education, we're phase 2 of our digital upskilling will come in the new year. So we're phasing it that way. And we do encourage experimentation. For example, I built my first agent. It's not very special, just to be.
Oh, really? Oh, congratulations.
It's not very special, but it helps me. And I can share some of my, as a leader, from a role model perspective, share some of my concerns, my failings, and that normalizes it for others. They go, okay, well, she stuffed up. I can give it a go and still keep going. So I think there's a leadership role in some of that as well.
Absolutely.
Tony, any tips you have to how to upskill your accounting and finance teams?
Yeah, from my perspective, this part is not just from my perspective, it's not just to learning AI or like just reading book and this guy. We need to make it more practical. So what I would like to share is about in our firm is how to make people engage AI as well. So the people is back to Stephannie, the people need to firstly the corporate as a whole with a culture to make everyone try to make them accept AI. That's the first step. Okay, if the corporate as a whole, the mission is not promote AI, then how can people do it? Same thing in accounting teams as well. So leaders doing it, or everyone think of it. Very important. And the second part is get them involved. Get them involved. Whenever you get a team or the synergy, get people to bring up their ideas. So that will be one time of training to get them, including solution. Okay, they will touch on solution, touch on thinking, touch on business scenario cases. Then they will create new things for the corporate within the finance team. That will be the second. And the final is become like the product comes up and how the effect and evolve the result, and to create another something else. That would be that could make people more energetic, especially young folks. And the tedious work become a change of the way of doing. So accounting work become interesting because they bring value. And also using a new method is not just typing a number and checking number in a very old school method. So that would be I would suggest in this. But for you mentioned about cyber as well, right? So do you want me to touch on?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Cyber is basically is very important right now, and most of this company, major corporate, quite concerned, especially board of directors is one of the role as well. They need to oversight the company, including cyber threat. So and also exchange, they pay attention to. So the corporate as well, for the finance people, everyone heard about the recent news that the finance people transferred $25 million out, and that would be very, very amazing. But what is it about? It's basically normally 25 million, very hard to be transferred. But you know what? They're using AI, new terms, deepfake, to capture your faces, and then you have a like multinational over cross country interview. Okay, you need to have such transfer, and the accounting team is become not aware of this. Is fake, and the people is they think it's a top management, and we discuss too, and then finally transfer it. So one of the cases reported in police, and become so my thinking on cyber. Previously we study on cyber is more on back end and also front end, internet, but actually phishing mail. But right now it's become like deepfake as well. as well. So I think that need to have as a caution to the finance people, finance team as well, because you are taking the very important key role in the department, and with money transfer capability as well. So that would be one part. And very quick, another sample is one of my clients, including they do encounter BitLock. Heard about it? It's a lock encryption technology and being hacked, encrypt whole database. So for finance people, another suggestion is that need to be aware of the cyber, not only because of the number, but also about the accounting record and data protection. Luckily, my client got back up and then resumed, but some of that the upstream process, like application form and this being locked and cannot be recovered. And they spend a lot of time to re-input data into system and to maintain the record for regulatory requirement. So I think it seems that the cyber threat become one of the key role being need to be aware by finance team as well.
I think
Over to you, Kevin.
I think we'll come to the end, but I think what you mentioned there, I want to sort of come up with professional skepticism is actually really important.
Absolutely.
Whether it's from the AI outputs or from somebody asking for a transfer of money, that professional skepticism. So we have to encourage people to challenge authority, really. And challenge the machine as well. So
challenge the AI as well.
That's right. So,
and I think it goes beyond that, just not just challenging, but constantly questioning, so that you're constantly learning and adapting. I mean, I loved how Steph was talking about the exposure. You've got to immerse yourself in these technologies and play a little bit to understand what can happen. Because what we really want is just-in-time knowledge. Right as I'm facing the business problem, here comes the technology solution. And so you've got to have enough play there and enough questioning of what's going on to keep that going. So be curious, keep learning. That's what a good professional does. And as accountants doing professional skepticism for years, and as data people that we are, I think the world's our oyster in this. This is going to be a great and exciting future, not a pessimistic view of AI replacing us. We're going to ride that AI elephant in the room to success and value.
I think that's a great closing statement from Michael. Tony, have you got like some sort of, what's your real top 3 tips that the listeners can take away from this discussion?
I think for the accountants, we're in the same field, and I would, the tips is that even in myself is always keep yourself open to new technology. One of the first senior accountant told me that, right now we're not only looking in the number, but also we need the technology as well. Even if CFO, they will take in charge of the company, right? Take in charge of the TMT company, technology company. So they need to know the technology and business as well. So I would say keep the things, your mind open, accept AI, and also from time to time to keep changing, aware of the market. I think these 3 tips to the accountants.
And Steph, given you're the chair of the Digital Transformation Centre of Excellence, you have the right of make the last comment on what are your top tips for the listeners?
It's an exciting time to be in finance and accountant in the AI generation. So embrace it with both your hands, immerse yourself in it, experiment, innovate, solve business problems. You'll add so much value to your organization and to yourself in terms of staying relevant and very marketable. And I think if you can have that mindset of curiosity the whole way through, it doesn't matter if you're early career or perhaps towards the back end of your career, like a couple of us might be, you can still have such a rewarding and amazing career. You've got that accounting, professional skepticism and professional judgment. I think this is an amazing time to be working in the finance and commercial area. So go forth.
Well, thank you so much, and please thank our panelists, Tony, Michael, and Stephannie. I really enjoyed it, and thank you so much. We also had questions around the report. The report, our business technology report, is available on our website to find out more. just scan the QR code there. And also we have a range of resources around digital technology and AI on our website, and that's on our, and if you look at the QR code on the right-hand side, that is actually a link to all those resources. Many of those resources, you might see Michael's name there and Stephannie as well, who make an invaluable contribution to members through digital technology. Thank you so much to everyone for listening in for today's webinar. We apologise it is a bit went over, but we had a lot of questions from listeners, and we thought we'd better get through most of them. I'll now pass back to Holly to close today's live stream.
Thanks so much, Gavin, and thank you everyone for joining us, and of course our amazing panel. If you could please scan the QR code on your screen and fill in our short post-event survey. We really appreciate your feedback, as it is extremely valuable to CPA Australia to help us deliver better experiences for you. The live stream can be found at our CPA Australia YouTube account should you wish to access the recording. If you enjoyed this live stream, we encourage you to share with your networks. As a reminder, CPD for this event will not automatically be recorded, so please be sure to fill out your CPD diary accordingly. Our next live stream is IFRS, Accounting Standards, Game Changers of Today and Tomorrow, will take place on Thursday, the 27th of November from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. More on that soon, but we hope to see you there.